Hi, guys. Happy New Year. Welcome to Weekly Travel Updates. Well, we're safe here for the New Year's, but wouldn't you know, a catastrophe on New Year's Day, a 7.6 earthquake in Japan. And that was on New Year's Day. We are more than a week out, still 200 or more missing. More than 120 deaths and no running water. So when you complain, you think about what others are going through. And if that weren't enough bad news for Japan, then you've bound to have seen by now the Japan Airlines saga and the crash onto the other plane. But the great news about that was that all travelers on the jet aircraft of Japan Airlines, all of them got out safely within like 93 seconds. It was amazing that we had that kind of success. So great news there. And then you've probably seen on the news where the Boeing 737s are grounded currently. United Airlines, Alaska Airlines, 737s, because of the door coming off. And I've watched numerous retakes of it, and like the teenager in the seat in front of where it's where an emergency door is framed to be if capacity warranted it. But anyway, where that door was sucked out, the teenager in the row in front of that door, his shirt was ripped right off. And thankfully, no one was sitting in rows 26A or B at the time of the incident, because with the damage that you can see on the aircraft, there would have been fatalities. So behind the wing is where this emergency door would have been. Anyway, 180 flights from United have been canceled that carry this aircraft, and 170 flights, and this is just today's numbers, 170 flights by Alaskan Air have been canceled. And I looked back at this aircraft, and 4 major events have happened in flight in the last 5 years. 2 of them were Southwest flights on the 737s, and the joints let loose at 35,000 feet. Another flight, a Southwest Airlines, a mother was killed when the door opened and she was virtually torn apart. Another 737, it happened to be on a United cargo flight, but the same thing happened. No fatalities there because it was a cargo flight. But it will take months of investigation and probing to find out what this is going to mean. And what is that going to mean to United or Alaskan Air? Both carriers have got huge fleets of 737s. Okay, then, wait, wrong page. Notes. Then this week is Thailand on your bucket list for 2024. This week, 30 Thai tourists were apprehended at a nightclub scene and arrested. That's pretty scary, right in Taiwan. So be sure and check what's going on in the country that you're considering traveling to. And if you don't know, then check with an expert myself or one of our staff, just make sure you check with somebody else. Don't rely on what you see online. All right. Then I've been talking about rail. So 2 new rail products. One, it's not really new, but it's new and it's coming in full steam ahead to share with you, and that's the Napa Wine Train. The second would be the high-speed rail that is interlocking Poland, because Poland has got a lot of diversity, a lot of destinations that are kind of like hidden gems. So this high-speed rail is going to be 140 meters long. It's going to have a tunnel that's 4 meters long. And it has been voted one of the most livable cities, which is part of this connection. And I'm not gonna try it. It's WROCLAW. I tried to think that this was Krakow because if you guys have traveled with us before, you know that Jan Antonovich, that's where he's from. And they went a few years, well, now it's been more than a few years ago, but they went so that he could see the city where he was raised. And they came back with just great stories and of the beauty that they said you could see in Poland. Well, because Poland is not as fantastically advertised as many, when they get this high-speed rail, it's really going to be a destination that's going to provide you with unique and new itineraries. I am very anxious about it. Then, if you haven't heard the news of Royal Caribbean's World Cruise. So, I shared news about the World Cruise that got canceled because their ship got sold. But then Royal Caribbean comes out and said, we're going to do this World Cruise. Well, not just days into the sailing, there's a problem with the World Cruise. And there's flooding on board ship. You'll have to look in some of the YouTubes that are out there. Just Google Royal Caribbean World Cruise sailing. It continued on. It's not a big deal. It's something that's going to happen when you go beyond what the norm is. But 9 days into a world cruise, and there's catastrophe. All right. Well, I have lots of wave season deals. Like MSC is doing a 7-day cruise in a balcony cabin with their all-inclusive program, $1,200 per person. That's pretty good. $1,200. Then don't do this because it has way too many bad reviews, but I'm going to tell you anyway because somebody's going to ask me about it. Margaritaville has got a annual cruise all that you want on Margaritaville for $899. So for $899, it includes your cruise portion for a whole year, and all that you're going to pay when you get on that ship are the port taxes and government fees. And those have to be paid each time you get on board. But heck of a deal if you're really just wanting to get away. But I'll tell you, some of the reviews that they're getting, they spent a lot of money making it look like Margaritaville. But it is a very old ship. And with that old ship, you have rust in the restrooms, carpet that's really, really worn. Some of the public areas that they're still using furniture that has long, well past good usage. It has a lot of things left to be desired. The food, ranked 3 out of 10. It said it was palatable, but just don't expect much. Anyway, the best thing that they got good marks on was their staff and service. They said there was some of the happiest staff members that they had seen in a long time. So wanted to let you know that. And then Holland American is doing time of your life sale. Their Explorer ship is also coming out later this year. And if you're looking for a deal, it's not going to be on the Icon, but the Explorer is a brand new Oasis class ship, and their rates are fabulous. I mean, $1,500 for a week on a brand spanking new ship. I think that has merit. Let me check it out if that is something that you're considering. Then I would be remiss if I didn't go back and tell you, Royal Caribbean is doing 30% off, second guest free. There are some sailings that kids are free. MSC always does kids are free. And while they don't get the best marks, they do have some of the most beautiful ships that I've seen in recent years. Their new ships, like boardwalk balconies, is what you could compare it to on a Royal Caribbean sailing, where you're looking down to the boardwalk and out the back of the ship, you see the spiral slides and you see where the water show is. Well, on the MSC ship, in those same inward facing balconies, you have a full ocean view. There's nothing blocking like 12 stories of openness, like 90 yards. Ooh, that's not true. 90 feet wide and 12 stories tall. Some of the pictures that I saw on Emma Cruise, she just got off of the of the MSC ship, and $1,200 all in for a week. That is a good deal. I want to tell you of some cruise stories, and this one is kind of scary. It was over the holidays, and it was a cruise passenger who they docked in Costa Maya, and the gentleman was not an elderly gentleman, but he had a heart attack. They took him off the ship and took him to the closest medical facility, which was away from Costa Maya. It's in Playa del Carmen. Now, if you fly into Cancun, you would know Playa del Carmen is about an hour away from Cancun. So this is from the opposite direction, south. They got him there, and the hospital administration said he needs to go right into surgery, but we'll need $35,000 guarantee to take him into surgery. The wife was, it sounded like just the husband and wife. The wife was there, got on the phone, took 10 hours to reach family and friends and get credit card numbers to get up to $35,000 so they would do the surgery. And they did. And he survived the surgery, to which the hospital administration came out and said, he's going to need a second surgery in 3 days, and that's going to be $38,000. And the woman was devastated. Now, mind you, she's in a hospital by herself. The ship doesn't wait around for you or doesn't send somebody with you. It just gets you to a medical facility. So she gets back on the phone with her family. They set up a GoFundMe, saying of their desperation. And I don't know how they got this information. It certainly would be something this travel agent would have provided them. They said, get a medical evac. Oh, this is pretty important. The point was, the hospital would not give him a release to fly. They said that they wouldn't release him. It sounds really like extortion. They got $35,000. He comes through surgery. They want $38,000. She says, what can we do? We don't have that money. I just gave you $35,000. And he said, ma'am, that's what we have to have for the next surgery. And she said, what will happen? And according to the wife, the hospital administration said he will die without it. So can you imagine that lady being in Mexico, being in a hospital that's nothing like the hospitals we might experience here, and being told that? So somebody got information to her, and they prepared a medical evac team to pick him up and fly him to the US. It still cost $20,000, but they got $19,000 by the GoFundMe, and I don't know how they made up the other $1,000. But anyway, long story short, he's home safely. What a scary thought, and what a scary position to be in. The cruise lines, the Mexican government, the US government, there needs to be some kind of coalition for travelers for situations like this. Right now, the cruise line and the US government have requested an investigation on the hospital administration, who kind of extorted this lady for the money. Anyway, we're thankful that he is home and home safely. Okay. Hold on, I wanted to tell you something else. Oh, so I love Venice. I love Italy as a whole. But there are stories of Venice sinking, and it's not that I don't believe that can happen. I'm more concerned about still being able to go there. But starting in June, groups of no more than 25 people will be able to travel together around Venice. No more boom boxes of, this microphone that this lady's telling you about, the cathedral that you're getting ready to enter, and, you can hear it for blocks away. No more of that. Nothing more than a talking voice on any electronic device, and no more than 25 people can travel together as a group. I don't know what they're going to do when they pull up in these 57 passenger buses and, at least 50 people get off, and maybe divide in two groups. You go towards the Rialto Bridge, I'll go towards the Piazza. Maybe. Anyway, that's pretty strong that they're doing that. So within a year, Venice has blocked all of the departures down the Grand Canal, and now the size of group travel. Wouldn't really matter to me. I don't like larger groups than about 25 or more anyway, if you're going with my groups. Then we had a third passenger go overboard in less than a month on MSC Cruises. Yep. This third one was a young gentleman, 55 years old, headed towards Rio, because New Year's in Rio is like the largest fireworks show, one of the largest fireworks shows in the world. And MSC was going to have 9 ships in the water where you could see this fantastic fireworks show. As it departed, and this was a short sailing, as it departed, it hadn't been out in the water more than 9 hours when a well-to-do, nicely dressed gentleman jumped overboard. And it was apparent by the cameras that it was intentional. A 55-year-old was drowned at Radio Beach, which is in Bimini. A lot of people say, hey, what's there to do in Bimini? It's a new cruise port. Lots of ships are going there now. Bimini has got a really nice beach, and it's Radio Beach, but it's also known to have large waves and undertow. And this was a father and son swimming, and he was overtaken by the water. Miami's 2023 records broke all records for the Port of Miami. And with the icon of the sea coming to Miami, this year, and another ship coming into the water this year. Miami says that 23 is nothing. We're going to break that record in 2024. And good news, kind of like Miami, Southampton in the UK is exploding with new shops, new infrastructure. It has become one of the largest cruise ports in the UK to depart from. It's always been one of the largest, but the newer ships are coming, and it's providing a lot more access. P&O has doubled the number of British ships leaving out of there, and it is exploding. I really would love to go out of Southampton again. It has been since Trey was a small child that we left from the White Cliffs of Dover. Let's see. Oh, I'll leave on a good note. A miracle. This is a miracle. So the Viking Sky, a couple from Australia wanted to go see the Northern Lights. They wanted to be on a nice ship. They chose the Viking Sky. It is a beautiful ship. Not so many people, 1,300 travelers, or 1,300 and change. Nope, it just says 1,300 passengers were on board, and they did get to see the Northern Lights one night, but there was terrible weather. So terrible that it flooded. The ship, I watched the video. Just Google it. Viking Sky. The ship would do like this and then go way down, and the nose would go in the water, and it would splash all the way to the bridge. To the bridge. Anyway, with whitecaps all over the seas, there were people who were hurt. And within hours of the ship floundering like this, they lost their engines. They are less than 100 meters from a rocky coastline. Now just imagine that. The captain even calls the Mayday signal abandon ship. There are injured passengers, so there are helicopters on their way. Helicopters were lifting off injured passengers 2 at a time. I'm not sure how far they had to take them, but there were 5 helicopters for 1,300 passengers. I don't know how many crew, 1,300 passengers. About 500 got off by helicopter. 5 helicopters, 2 at a time. 500 travelers were airlifted off before the ship was able to be safely towed in. What kept it off of the rocks was the captain said to drop anchor, and they were able to get one engine to fire. And so with dropping the anchor and one engine just to keep them away from the rocks, that's when he called Mayday. And man, I just can't imagine. This family went on through this story, and they had texted their kids. Then the next part was priceless. It was a picture of their family talking to their grandparents saying, "We saw you on TV. We saw you in the basket." It was like a Christmas miracle. It was right at Christmas. All right, guys. All of these things are just a reminder. Get travel insurance. The family who had the husband in the hospital in Costa Maya, The hospital administrator had already been contacted by the insurance company saying that they would guarantee payment. Not good enough. Thankful that they got out. But if something happens like that and you've got travel insurance, you have a worldwide number that you can reach somebody to speak to them, and they send people to you. You wouldn't be the one freaking out. Well, I'm Melinda Fargus. I own Action Travel. We deliver the world to you, working one-on-one, one trip at a time. Well, except for Alaska. We're going to Alaska July 2nd to the 13th, and it'll be a small group. And Daryl Carter just got back from Hawaii. He's already planning his birthday trip for Hawaii next year, and he wants to do it on a cruise, which will leave the Saturday before New Year's and come back like January 4th. If you have interest in cruising Hawaii, please let us know, because I know that the New Year's sailing will fill up fast. Grab it while it's not such a bad deal now. All right, Melinda Fargus, Action Travel. Reach us at 336-222-TRIP. We're here to serve you, and reach out to us so that we can help you get more in 2024. Ciao.